G'day and welcome to Desert Run for Hope. So, Desert Bus for Hope is a charity stream that I've been watching for a number of years now, and by the time this goes up on YouTube, it should be basically Desert Bus time. But at the time I'm recording it, it's not exactly Desert Bus time, but it's getting pretty close. And for those of you unaware, Desert Bus is part of the Penn and Teller collection of games. It is kind of deliberately built to be one of the worst games ever. And it's just meant to be a difficult and not very interesting game. And the aim of the game is to drive from Tucson to Las Vegas and back. I actually don't know how to set my own flag here, unfortunately, so we're gonna reset navigation. Nope. Right. I don't know why it won't let me basically change where the flag goes, but here's the plan. We're just gonna go from Tucson to Vegas and back. That is what we're gonna be doing for the next week or so. What I thought is I would talk about the Desert Bus for Hope charity marathon while playing another very realistic driving game, although it has its own breaks with reality. So we're going to play the American Truck Simulator, because it's got both Tucson and Las Vegas, and I happen to have purchased myself a modded cheap bus, and the aim of the game will just be getting from point A to point B. I've been following... how did I run across Desert Bus? I've been following Loading Ready Run just on and off. I saw them periodically on The Escapist, and then, but also I remember years ago running across the occasional video by them. But Desert Bus for Hope is something that just I'd occasionally see people talk about, because it's an odd, funny thing to do. It was one of the first video game charity marathons. Let's play a really boring game, but entertain people while we do so, and do it for hours, days. So, yeah. On the other hand, Desert Bus was going for a really... It was built for the Genesis. It never actually released. And it was going for a very particular kind of realism. It's how interesting is it to drive for 8 hours? How can we basically make the least compelling experience that we can from that? Whereas obviously American Truck Simulator has a very different goal in mind. I mean, American Truck Simulator is about... Really? You want me to exit? No, you don't. Bugger. I am not great at this game. American Truck Simulator is about actually trying to simulate just that kind of long trucking experience, but in a way that's still fun and engaging. So, I mean, American Truck Simulator, you'll notice it'll take me a lot less time to get to Tucson than it would in the real world, because this game kind of plays with time and distance. If you look in the bottom right hand corner, when I'm not running into things because I'm an excellent bus driver, you'll see that we go up a minute every second or so. So that's... How am I meant to cross the road here? I'm not clear on what the game wants me to do right now. I mean, I screwed up a lot, but yeah, how are you meant to turn around here? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be viable to just run the other way down the highway. Yet you want me to turn around, I get that, but come on, navigation. I don't think this is going to work. I was saying things. Yes, American Truck Simulator has a very different goal in mind, which is good, because it's actually designed to be not a trick, but a genuine piece of entertainment. Whereas the only way that Desert Bus works as entertainment is when it's being used kind of as the hook, or part of the hook in Desert Bus for Hope. I don't think it's ever really meant to have been entertaining on its own. The collection it was part of, Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors, was essentially a series of tricks to play on your friends. And that's definitely a different goal in mind. Alright, so we're actually on the highway, going the right way, and I'm driving way too aggressively for any bus driver. I would not want to meet me on the road. I've also completely forgotten to use basic things like signals. But hey, we're on our way to Vegas from Tucson. And it takes about 7 hours to drive to Vegas. So in game time, it's going to take the equivalent of about 10 minutes, I think. It's roughly each second in real life is a minute in game time, but it isn't exactly that. I mean, obviously, I've not actually tried to count the time, but like, I think the map is meant to evoke real distances. Wow, I'm really driving badly. Without actually providing the actual distances. It has to be based on real road maps, but I think the key part is it's real road maps where any city or town is reduced to the smallest amount, where it's actually cut off from the rest of the map. And so, because it's concerned with the experience of driving a truck, right? So we're driving a truck. I'm speeding a lot. And we aren't ever expected to go into a commercial center. How often do you actually see big shipping trucks, cross-country shipping trucks going into cities? It's not that often, I would hope. And we're not like doing small deliveries. I think it's just difficult to try and simulate those kinds of cities and simulate the countryside in the same easy way. So Truck Sim doesn't do it. It just tries to kind of telescope the distances. Yeah. Okay, so what was I wanting to talk about? Oh yes, Desert Bus for Hope. If you are unfamiliar with Desert Bus for Hope, specifically, it is a charity marathon that is in its 10th year this year. Starts in November, and it should start the weekend after this first video comes out on YouTube. I really should have written down the actual date so I can remember it, but I haven't. And it is done mostly by the Loading Ready Run crew as like the organizers, but it's actually a separate organization, separate function, separate group of people that organize it, and they play Desert Bus, the most boring game ever, for as long as people are able to donate to them. Works on a sliding scale. You only need to donate a very small amount to increase the hours at the beginning, but by the end it costs thousands of dollars to move the needle an hour, tens of thousands of dollars. The practical limit on the marathon is about a week. On the other hand, it's a week playing the most boring games possible. I'm just going to check the map, because I'm not entirely sure where we're meant to go here. Because okay, good. I want to go straight. Don't know why it keeps giving me this loop, but hey, we're going to Vegas, so we're gonna go straight. And it's a great time. I really recommend you check it out. And the plan is to basically have these Desert Bus videos. No, I'm going the wrong way. No, not like this. Curse you, confusing intersection. The aim of the game is to basically... how illegal do I want to make things? Not very. The aim of This is, by the way, what the game does when you'd be taking an exit into a urban center. It just locks it off. That's an invisible wall. So I need to go back the way I came, and I can't take that exit to spin around. So I've got to take this one here. So you can see that on the kind of navigator, it doesn't exist. Okay, what can I do? It's going to take me a long time to get to Vegas. It's like I don't really know the way. I'm relying on a badly handled GPS. Hey, whoops. This bus is also not going to be in great shape by that point. But, hey. The current structure that they're using... No. What's actually the kind of thing that I want to talk about with Desert Bus? When you're talking about Desert Bus, the key thing to remember is it isn't the game that you're going to be watching so much as everyone in the room. It actually used to be that they would have two streams, one of just the game and one of just the room. Oh, nope, I probably don't want to run into that truck. And yeah, like they did actually in the last couple of years incorporate it into the same stream, and I think that's better. Let's see. Let's go straight. Let's try and follow what it's showing here. But I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. If that isn't obvious. I'm also speeding, apparently. I probably should pay attention to the speed limits. This game looks surprisingly good for the kind of low poly approach that they take. Wow, I'm like super speeding now. Come on. This is actually something that is really weird to try and get used to. That there is actually a speed limit that I should be paying attention to in a video game. Because if I run across a cop, I will get fined. And that costs me money. And besides, it's not very realistic to just want to speed everywhere. Same thing applies to like running a red. I actually do need to pay attention to the color of the lights. Okay. But yeah, so it's a week of watching increasingly sleep-deprived... See what I mean? Increasingly sleep-deprived people play a not very interesting video game, but the people involved are all really entertaining, and they interact really well with chat, and it's it's a great time. You really should check it out. So for the YouTube audience, I actually streamed this as I recorded it. And so I just got a comment from my chat, which is, have you driven in the US? It's quite realistic to just speed everywhere. Well, that may be true, JLC. I suspect it isn't quite true that it's realistic to go 40 miles in a 25 mile an hour zone on a fairly regular basis, especially as the driver of a coach. I just don't see that as being a great plan. What? The light already changed to red? Seriously? Man, these lights are awful. Come on, move it. Okay. You know what? Let's be the worst bus driver ever. I mean, I've already taken a series of wrong turns. I'm just gonna overtake on the shoulder. Because that's what you do, right? Don't want to take the exit there. Yes, I do want to take the exit there. This is how I go straight ahead, because this is a really confusing intersection. Yeah, that's right. I didn't repeat the exact same mistake. Yes. Off we go. So, one of the interesting differences between Desert Bus and American Truck Sim is in Desert Bus it takes 8 literal hours to drive from Tucson to Vegas, which is fairly realistic, frankly. And that matches the estimate that you get if you go to Google Maps. On the other hand, in American Truck Sim, it'll take about, I suspect, 10 real-time minutes, maybe a little longer. I haven't timed it before. But on the other hand, your character will get tired, and your character has to obey the speed limit, and there are other vehicles on the road. So you have to actually do that. And so, for example, I'm about to start speeding. Also, the road is not perfectly straight, although fortunately this bus doesn't list to the right. So not going to spend the entire run of this driving in the middle of a 2-lane road and waiting for a bug to hit the windscreen. Instead, I'm going to actually need to pay some modicum of attention to what I'm doing. Flagstaff, Camp Verde. I've got to change here. Oh, sorry about that car. Is it here? Shit. Yes, it is. I am great bus driver, man. Also, your vehicle takes damage, and you have to serve it every so often. Yeah, so in this game, they compress the arduous experience of actually crossing the desert. But on the other hand, I have to spend a lot more time actually, I guess it's a lot more of an engaging experience, because part of the challenge of Desert Bus is you have a bus that just constantly lists slightly to the right, and it takes a very long time, and if you screw up, you just get dragged back to the start. Whereas here, if I screw up, it's not an instant game over. If I speed, or if I drive slowly, or if I run into things, it's not basically a game over. But it is actually more challenging on a moment-to-moment basis. If Desert Bus were more challenging on a moment-to-moment basis, though, then it would be more engaging than the joke intends. So I guess, when it comes down to it, Desert Bus is a perfectly designed experience. It's just not designed to be a very fun experience. Whereas this is a reasonably well-designed experience, and it's meant to hit a particular feel. Whoops. Yeah, I deserve that. I just nearly ran off the road there. I wonder if that will come in a later DLC or expansion, because, for example, Arizona is actually DLC. It just was a free post-release thing here. Okay, what do we got? We got farms. I do like you do get a character of an area. I really should look into how they build the maps, because I know things like signs are done dynamically. They don't have separate textures for every sign in the game, because that would be kind of unnecessary, and it also makes it harder for people to build things. So instead, they have a system for building signs, because signs are built according to a fairly straightforward system. Let's see. Still going. I really hope that I'm going the right way. Nothing worse than going to the completely wrong location. I can get away with speeding for a while. It's a highway. What's 5 miles over the speed limit on a highway? What is 5 miles over the speed limit on a highway, actually? Don't know the conversion between miles and kilometers very well. So, JLC assures me that this is basically what Tucson looks like in the real world, though we'd run into actual desert fairly soon. And maybe we will. I mean, there's still a reasonable trek to go. Though this is a... Oh no, the ETA right now is 1 AM. I was like, wait. If you look right at the bottom right hand corner, you can see an ETA. It's like, that seems fairly not what I'm seeing now, but the actual time is 2:46 in the hour. Let's just stick our head out the window, or through the window, as we look behind us and see what's going on. I do like that, so I'm playing with the Xbox 360 controller, so you basically use the right stick to just look around the car, which is good because even the best monitor doesn't really have the same field of view as a person does. I know that Euro Truck Sim has had at least experimental VR support. It'd be really interesting to actually have a proper driving setup in this game. You know what? We got 60,000 in the bank. Let's just speed our way, see how we do. See how fast we can get this bus to go in this traffic. Las Vegas, yes, on the left. Fantastic. And I like that there are truck stops and pit stops, and those are actually relevant because that's also where you find truck dealers. And at some point we're going to get tired. Yeah, we've run past a speed camera. You'd think I'd invest in some kind of assistant that will point out where the speed cameras are so I could not have to slow down. That said, I am going to need to slow down here. I need to turn. So let's just take our foot off the accelerator and still need to apply the brakes. I'm playing in the simplest driving mode, by the way. So, seriously? Wow. My bad. Sorry. Come on, can we make it to Vegas this episode? Then, in Desert Bus tradition, we will have scored 1 point on this shift. Las Vegas sign. So I guess no, this isn't desert. We still got trees and shrub. This is more like scrubland, right? Speed limit still 75. Yeah. Call a divorce attorney. Nice. Pretty sure the passengers on this here coach must be getting a little concerned. On the other hand, they came with the bus, so not really sure what I'd be worried about there. Healthcare center, nah. Everything's fine. Let's see what we get. But I wonder if, maybe I'm just not paying attention. Also, I'm going to need to stop for petrol, because you actually do need to buy petrol in this game. Really, I wonder if there are anything that that I can turn on. If there is like any options to say, hey, show me where speed cameras are. Because at least fixed speed cameras, everywhere I've seen, like you can get an option to show them on typical GPSs. I'm not sure how the police feel about this, but it's hard to stop people from recording where they see fixed speed cameras. Let's probably not run into the back of that car. But this is a lot less straight than the Desert Bus road map is, so let's see how we go. Whoop! Seem to be lacking a trailer there, truck. Maybe you might want to actually be transporting something. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a lot more what you picture when someone says desert. Although, I guess a lot of people would still not picture that many, like, scrubby little bushes, but you can still get little bits of stuff in fairly arid areas. I guess it's not like pure sand desert. And here, is this a dam? I think it is. Yep, welcome to Nevada. So... and there is Las Vegas Hoover Dam Resort. So yeah, that Hoover Dam. Doesn't seem as impressive in this game as it is in real life. Okay, let's stop running into people. No. I'm great driver. Manitou. That would probably be more meaningful if I knew things about it. Hey, look, there's a blimp and cars. Yeah. I like that you do see other vehicles in traffic, even if the game is not at all geared for you to buy a car and do anything with it. In fact, the game is not geared to you buying a bus, by the way. This bus was added in as part of a mod pack, and if I remember, I will actually include that mod pack in the video description, but the game really does not like you trying to use it. There was one point where it spawned the bus with a trailer, and that doesn't work very well. The bus was kind of stuck because there was half a trailer in it, and the bus model obviously doesn't have a proper spot to put a trailer, and I couldn't drive the bus at all. It was a little awkward. Fortunately, I was able to detach the trailer and drive off, leaving whatever cargo I had agreed to transport off in the distance. So here we are in Las Vegas. What we're going to do is we're going to head to the nearest petrol station, and then we will call that a point, and we will turn back. So the plan is, not you, to go here, and we'll call that a point, and then we will turn around. So yeah, that's been our first trip. It had a few bumps, shall we say, but it was pretty neat. I mean, it's an interesting little bit of landscape. It's interesting just to see the differences. Obviously, I hadn't really thought about the fact that the Hoover Dam is between Vegas and Tucson, because my knowledge of this kind of thing, yes, stopped, good, is really actually based on watching Desert Bus, and Desert Bus doesn't, like Desert Bus for Hope, and Desert Bus itself doesn't even vaguely try to display anything about the area in which it takes place. It's just like, yeah, no, it's a straight road between the two with a flat, featureless desert in between. Nothing else. Nothing to see. Because we're building for the Genesis and we don't actually have that much detail to provide. There we go. Everything's fine. We'll just stop here and buy some petrol. That's one point, and I will see the YouTube audience later. In the meantime, go check out desertbus.org. Come on. Come on. There we go.